and welcome to HR Headlight Restoration. In this video, we're going to show you exactly what you receive in the HR Headlight Restoration System so you can achieve professional results. Inside the box, what you will find is one complete instruction booklet, 3 bottles of restoration product, a step 1, a step 2, and a step 3, 3 sheets of wet sanding paper, 1 400 grit, 1 600 grit, and 1 800 grit, 1 fine wool pad, 1 heavy wool pad, 1 Velcro backer pad, and a drill attachment, and 1 microfiber. So before you get started, there's going to be a few things you're going to need to provide to be able to do your restoration kit. You're going to need to decide what kind of machine you're going to actually use, whether it's a variable speed polisher, a porta drill, or a cordless drill. A lot of people aren't going to have the variable speed polisher, but don't worry about it. You can either use a porta drill or cordless drill. Cordless drill is going to work great, but the problem is it'll probably run out of speed and battery life, so you'll have to use a couple of batteries when doing your headlights. On this video, we're actually going to be using a porta drill for continuous power. Also, you're going to need to find yourself either a bucket or a spray bottle to be able to use your wet sanding pads, as well as a couple of rolls of tape to be able to protect around the lens while you're doing the polishing. If you're going to polish the headlight inside the vehicle, just take a moment and tape around the edge of the paint. The product will not hurt the paint, but the machine could hit your edges and scuff your paint. So just take a moment and quickly just tape around the edge. This will protect your vehicle and make sure you have a great job. So now what you need to do is you need to determine, first off, does your vehicle need to be sanded or does it not? A couple ways to check this is if you look at a headlight and you see that it's all one consistency, you'll realize that 90% of the time the step 1 product will actually take all your contaminants off your headlight. But if you look at your headlight and you notice that it's almost like it's starting to pit or peel, some headlights do have a coating on it which will require sanding. So determine which headlight you have and go to either sanding or going straight to step 1 process. Now if you're looking at having to sand the headlight, what you're going to do is you're going to go to your 3 sandpapers and you're going to drop down to say your 400 grit is your first sanding. You're going to take it and you're going to fold it in half so you have sandpaper on either side. Then you're going to get it completely wet, whether it's with a bucket or with a spray. This one we're going to use a spray. It makes it a little bit easier. Again, on the same with the outside of the vehicle, you're just going to spray it. Nothing's going to hurt the finish. Again, taping your edges if you had to so you protect the sandpaper from the edges of your vehicle. Now, going in one single motion, you actually will start to sand the headlight. You can actually feel the actual grit working in and actually it becoming smooth. As you see it getting smooth, continue to put water onto it, continuing to sand. You'll actually feel the grit going away and it becoming smooth. You can actually, even as it dries, start seeing whether or not you've gotten all the imperfections out of the headlight. So what I want you to do is just continue going with the 400 until it's completely smooth. Make sure it's all one consistency. Now once you've actually sanded the headlight and you know that it's smooth, you can actually feel all the imperfections and everything gone. You're going to actually rinse off the headlight just to give it a second look. If you wipe it off, you'll actually see whether or not you've actually sanded everything smooth and all the contaminants are gone away. Once it's all one consistency, then you can jump to your next sanding pad. The 400 is going to be your most amount of work. It's the one where you're going to get everything off that you need to get off. Every one after that will be a lot faster and a lot quicker. So now that you're ready to actually start with your next grit, you'll jump up to the 600. With the 600, basically what you're doing is you're taking out all the sandings of the 400, just basically getting rid of the scratchings from what the 400 did. Now remember, the more you spend with the 400, the more imperfections you take out, the better your light will actually turn out. So if you do have stone chipping or scuffs or scratches, you can actually go with the 400 until they're gone. Your headlight will actually turn out a lot better. Spray the lens, spray the sandpaper, and start doing it again. Again, doing back and forth, same direction. I like to go in the same direction, keep my lines going in the same direction, and actually sand now until all the lines of that 400 is out. And you'll actually feel it go smoother. The more that you do it, you'll actually feel it smoothing out. So it's not too hard to actually see it or feel it, but make sure that you are done with the 400 lines before jumping to the next stage. So now with the final sanding, again, self-explanatory, spray the paper, spray the lens, same direction, taking out the sandings from the 600 to the 800. Once you get it across, all sanded, you know that it's smooth, then you can now proceed to go with your compounds. So now you're ready to be able to do the 3-step process. You got your step 1, step 2, and step 3. First off, you're going to take your drill, your backing pad, and your drill adapter piece. Thread your drill adapter piece into the backer, put it into your drill, tightening your drill, and then take your chuck and make sure that's completely tight. You want to make sure that there's no way for it to come out and the drill to actually hit the car in any process. Now that you're ready to start your first step 1, you're going to take your short-haired wool and you're going to put it onto your pad. Before we do that, I'm going to show you the amount of product that you need to be able to do it. Less is more. You do not need a lot. I just literally run a couple of lines to make sure that it's onto the pad. The pad is designed to not take a lot of product. It actually fills into the gaps to really do a good pulling without using a lot of product or a lot of pressure. Let the pad and the product do all the work. Now that you're ready, put it on and you're ready to start your first sandings. So now that you have your product and your pad on your drill, check to see if your drill, which this one here does, has a variable speed dial onto it to be able to turn it down so it's not going at full RPMs. If you can turn it all the way down, turn it to its lowest setting. You don't want your product, once you put it onto your headlight, to be shooting everywhere. So if you place it on, you can push it in, make sure it's getting in your pad before you even turn on the drill. Only do one section at a time. You don't have to do the whole headlight. Once you have that ready, you're ready to start your drill, keeping even pressure and just working it into the light. Let the pad and the polish do all the work. Don't you be pushing really hard onto it, going on one side or the other. Try to keep your drill pretty flat and even and run straight lines. Once you have it actually into the product, onto the lens, you can now go back to your dial, turning up your drill and speeding up the process with your trigger. Now you continue this all the way through your headlight. As you can see, it's instantly bringing the lens back to a clearer state. Still some scratching, but if you do it about 2 or 3 times, you will actually bring that right back before going on to step 2. Now we have actually finished with the step 1. As you can see, we've gotten out most of the contamination and most of the scratching. With step 2, it will finish taking out the last bit of scratches and bring the headlight even up more. But as you can see, most of the stuff has been actually removed and brought back just by doing your sandings in your stage 1. So once you see that most of everything that you wanted to get out of the light has come out, you're now ready for step 2. If there's any real bad imperfection or things that you didn't get, you can always jump back a step or 2 and actually remove that and continue going forward. Now that you're ready to jump to step 2, we're going to jump to the heavier wool pad. This is going to take out a little bit more of the scratches and any more slight variations. Again, you're going to put on very minimal amount of product onto the wool pad. You can always add more, but if you put too much, it tends to fling and go everywhere. So only put a few dabs onto your cloth and you're ready to start going. So now that we're ready for step 2, it's the same as step 1. Turning your drill all the way down, apply your product, turn your drill to the lowest setting, hit a few passes, then turn up your drill again. Proceed to polish. Once you've done this a few times, then you can take your microfiber, wiping off, looking at your lens to see how your scratches and everything are coming out, and you can continuously do this until you get the desired look that you're going for. Now that you're done with step 2, you can now proceed to go to step 3. This is your protectant and your sealer. So same principle, put it on very lightly, work it into the headlight, make sure it's all worked in. And again, you can apply this every 4 or 5 washes with your vehicle. You can actually apply this and actually protect and prolong the life of your headlights if you continuously use this. There is enough product in this to probably do your headlights around 5 to 6 times. Now again, same as step 1 and 2, apply the product, pushing it around the headlight, turning your drill to its low setting, turning on, and then speeding up until it starts to go to a haze. Now after you've worked in the step 3, taking your microfiber, clean around the vehicle, around the light, wiping all excess off, and you should be done. One thing I just want to state at the end of this is this was probably the worst headlight you'll ever encounter. We wanted to show a headlight that really was beyond bad. It had cracks, it had deep scuffs, it has interior damage, but the outside of it where the most damage was, we wanted to show that we literally got rid of everything on the outside of the lens. One other thing I just want to mention was that this was actually my very first time using a corded drill. I only use usually the professional variable speed polisher. It makes the job a little bit easier, but I'm actually extremely impressed on how bad this headlight was and how fast the actual corded drill actually worked and how easy it was to continuously go on to it without any real issues. So very confident in anyone being able to use a corded drill. Again, my first time, so you got to see exactly the results of somebody just picking it up and trying it for the first time. This concludes our restoration video. I hope this video helped you in your restoration process. If you feel that you just don't want to do it or you just don't have time, feel free to visit our website and locate an HR headlight restoration dealer or authorized location nearest you.